Hey everybody, real fast, I want to let you know that Dead Meat is going to be at VidCon Anaheim. Like, we're going to have an actual booth on the floor of VidCon, which is wild to me. VidCon's going to be at the Anaheim Convention Center from June 26th to the 29th, and we will be at booth 209. Come find us. Our booth's going to have 3 parts to it. One is a little personality quiz that you can take that Chelsea designed, and at the end of it, you find out which monster you are, and you get a collectible card with that monster. There are a whole bunch of options, and Chelsea did the artwork for them, and they're all so cute. Another part of the booth is a photo opportunity on a recreation of the OG kill count set. Well, I guess it's not the OG kill count set, but it's the one that a lot of you know is the second one, like from the Saw series and stuff. And then we'll also have merch for sale. Chelsea and I will stop by the booth on occasion, but it'll be staffed by Dead Meat employees all weekend long. So come take a quiz, get a collectible card, get a photo, and get some merch if you want, all at VidCon Anaheim, booth 209. We're by like real companies and shit. I think we're by Mars Candy. All right, on to the kill count. Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Totally Killer, released on Amazon Prime in 2023. Totally Killer follows the trends set by Freaky, Happy Death Day, and It's a Wonderful Knife. Like those movies, it adds a slasher twist to a previous IP, in this case, Back to the Future.
Have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Nope. But I heard it's good.
Jamie Hughes is our Marty McFly, and she travels back in time to 1987 to stop a masked murderer. Totally Killer was one of my favorite horror films of last year, mostly because of how funny it is. I genuinely laugh aloud at so many of its jokes. I just love the way that they're delivered.
Old people, sick people, and people with dogs.
That's the order you hate people in?
As you might expect, a lot of its humor comes from Jamie's Gen Z sensibilities clashing with the past. But it's rare that her reaction is the punchline itself. More often, it's the setup for the actual funny line.
By the way, your shirt is super problematic. Honey, I like your shirt.
It's a smart way to approach the humor. It'd get old real fast if every joke was just Jamie being morally superior.
We're not trying to say one is right or one, like, she's just saying like, this, you can't do this anymore, you know, and people are like, what are you talking about? Like, there is no such thing as PC-ness.
Everyone in the cast understands the assignment, especially Kieran and Shipka as the lead. Mad Men fans like me watched Shipka grow up on television surrounded by the most amazing actors. As she became a teenager, she fit right alongside those talents and inherited their comedic timing. If you didn't know, Mad Men is like one of the funniest shows. Shipka and the other actors are guided by director Nahnatchka Khan, whose previous work includes sitcoms like Fresh Off the Boat and Don't Trust the Bee and Apartment 23. Her knack for humor helps make this an accessible horror comedy.
It could be sort of a door into the horror genre for a lot of people who might tell themselves, I don't like horror films.
But she doesn't just nail the comedy. Totally Killer brings a lot more to the table too. Its action sequences are slick and exciting, with multiple chase scenes shot in energetic and tense ways. The mystery is kept suspenseful thanks to all the small town suspects, and the kills are downright brutal and often sad. Things get a little messy in the final act, and there are some things you'll just have to accept to have a good time. I mean, the premise involves a science fair time travel machine built by a high schooler. You can't question it too much. But if you buy into it, you'll find a hell of a fun ride with a lot of heart. It's definitely worth watching on your own. How many bodies will get buried in this bloody blast?
James, I have terrible news.
Is it about my brother?
You don't have a brother. It's about Zoran.
What about him?
He has amnesia. He doesn't remember a thing.
Hi, who are you?
Sounds like another goddamn day in Sponsor Heights. Zoran, is there really nothing that you remember? Tell me, do you remember today's sponsor, Manscaped? Oh, Zoran, you must remember Manscaped. I mean, their Beard and Balls bundle, you know? It lets you take care of your...
Beard and balls?
Yes, you do remember.
Oh no, the name is very self-explanatory. Good marketing.
Look, it comes with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's packed with features, like interchangeable blade heads, with a trimmer for maintaining a little growth, and a foil head for a smooth shave.
Does seem familiar. Does it have 3 different combs?
Yes, with 2 that are adjustable, allowing for lengths ranging from 1.4 millimeters to 12 millimeters. And this is the Beard Hedger. It's for taking care of beards, or in your case, your mustache. Yeah, you have a mustache now. It's kind of weird. And it comes with 20 different length options that you can easily select with the built-in zoom wheel thing right there. Yeah, that thing.
And it's waterproof.
It is! And it offers 60 minutes of
runtime off one charge! I remember everything!
Great.
I'm Zoran Gavoyich, and I hate pets!
No.
Yeah!
Where did you get those? Joe Bluth? Make sure you don't forget to bundle up with the Beard and Balls bundle at manscaped.com and use code KILLCOUNT20 to get 20% off plus free international shipping. How many bodies will get buried in this bloody blast to the past? Let's find out and get to the kills. The movie begins with exposition sponsored by Audible.
Do you want to hear a story? I have to warn you, it's a disturbing one.
In 1987, the small town of Vernon was the site of a killing spree, as shown by these dolly death dioramas. We'll add these deaths to the kill count later when we actually see them happen. For now, all we need to know is that Tiffany Clark was killed in her garage during a party, Marissa Song at a cabin in the woods, and Heather Hernandez in a carnival parking lot. All of them were stabbed 16 times on their 16th birthdays, which were the days leading up to Halloween. The so-called Sweet 16 killer, who looks like Johnny Bravo's cousin, was never caught, but his legacy lives on thanks to true crime fanatics.
Welcome to the Sweet 16 Killer Podcast Tour, brought to you by true crime journalist Chris Dubasage. I am your host, Chris Dubasage.
This is such a funny way to give us an information dump and poke fun at people obsessed with true crime.
I don't know about you, but when I think serial killer, I think like at least 6 people.
Let's give it up for Angie, who wishes there were more people killed. Okay.
16-year-old Jamie Hughes is getting ready for a Halloween rock concert, but her parents don't want her to go.
Well, I can't go to a concert because your friends were murdered 35 years ago.
Okay.
I would never have spoke to my mother like that.
Pam and Blake were teenagers in Vernon when the Sweet 16 killings happened. It's left them so scarred, Pam has trained Jamie to be a full-on final girl.
I have keychain pepper spray, a rape alarm. You've made me take self-defense classes since I was 7. You gave me a protective crystal you got from a psychic.
Buff Bod Blake is played by Riverdale alum Lachlan Monroe, last seen on the kill count in Freddy vs. Jason. Pam is played by Julie Bowen, best known from Modern Family, but she was also Jack's wife in Lost and Happy Gilmore's love interest. A compromise is made with Blake as peacemaker. He agrees to chaperone Jamie for the night, leaving Pam to have a hubby-free Hubie Halloween. While she's alone, a costumed killer shows up at her door, and this ain't no trick-or-treater. It's the real deal, motherfucker! But Pam's the real deal, too.
I've been worried about being murdered since I was 16. You thought I wouldn't be prepared?
She does a good job kicking their ass until she gets thrown straight through the coffee table, by God! Some emergency undercouch pepper spray gives her the chance to escape, so she arms herself with a knife, causing the killer to... okay, I guess that was enough for him. Oh shit, never mind! The backdoor bluff gives the killer the upper hand. Pam tries to crawl away in full Scream style, but the killer catches up and stabs her to death, and then stabs her some more. It's actually a pretty upsetting kill with how much she's screaming. Damn. Her body's found by a couple of trick-or-treaters / home invaders who run away from the crime scene in this late-game title card. Jamie's mourning her mom the next morning at school and wearing a jacket she borrowed from her for the concert. The faculty puts on a super helpful anti-murder presentation delivered by idiot wrestling coach Randy.
The first thing you want to do if you see the killer is run. Go Devils.
Jamie gets questioned by the staff and police.
You know where your dad was the night your mom was murdered?
Jesus, Kara, you don't want to warm up to that?
Principal Doug Summers doesn't want to forego the niceties, but Sheriff Kara Lim suspects the killing may have been done by Jamie's dad in a fit of jealous rage. After all, Pam's phone records show she was texting Chris Dubasage, the podcaster we saw earlier. Jamie doesn't buy the infidelity theory and calls Kara just as useless as her dad, the sheriff who failed to find the killer 36 years ago. She does meet with Chris Dubasage, though, and asks why he was texting her mom. He explains that they were working together to finally figure out who the Sweet 16 killer was. If Chris looks familiar, it's because he's played by Canadian actor Jonathan Potts, last seen on the kill count returning Jason's belongings.
It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
Jamie heads over to Billy's Boardwalk, a local amusement park that closed in 1987 after Heather Hernandez was murdered there. Now it's filled with creepy old animatronics and creepy old grounds creepers. But the school is hosting its science fair there in an effort to revitalize it. Yeah, that sounds safe. Jamie's best friend Amelia is a teen genius. Her science fair project is a straight up time machine. As with all science fair projects, Amelia got some help from her mom, Lauren. We saw her earlier when Jamie and her dad picked up Amelia for the concert.
I texted her we're here.
Why don't you just knock?
No, Dad. It's so rude.
Lauren was a teen genius too, but her big dreams have faded with age, and now she's stuck working late nights to support her kid. Amelia wants to bring life to her mother's original invention, but right now it's just a photo booth. The time machine part ain't working yet. Once it does though, she plans on going back to 1987.
I just thought that if we could stop the Sweet 16 killer from killing in the first place, my mom would still be alive.
Yeah, she wouldn't have been murdered by the mystery killer. I wonder who it could be. No, I don't think it's her. Oh, I see. Yeah, Jamie, you'd better run. She escapes into the boardwalk while Amelia runs for help and hides from the killer inside the time machine. She accidentally turns it on, alerting the killer to her whereabouts. During the scuffle, a missed stab sends the knife into the control panel, which is apparently just what it needed to get going. And now it's gone. When Jamie emerges from the photo booth, Billy's boardwalk is shiny and new, and also shot in the widest lens I've ever seen. Jesus Christ, why are we looking out of a fisheye all of a sudden? She pieces things together quickly, and her suspicions are confirmed by a helpful mom.
What year is it?
1987.
Oh my God.
I know. The 80s are almost over and I haven't even tried Coke yet.
Jamie's Gen Z sensibilities don't fit with this world at all. Not the carcinogenic car rides, nor the dated decor, nor how easy it is to lie her way into being a new student at the high school.
You don't need to verify anything.
What is this, Fort Knox?
She's sent to gym class where she spots the 3 future murder victims: Tiffany Clark, Marissa Song, and Heather Hernandez. Tiffany's played by Liana Liberato, last seen on the kill count in Scream 6. She's also an immensely lovely person. Before Jamie can get her precog on, she's forced into a game of dodgeball. And ain't no foam balls here, this is 80s dodgeball. No safety, no rules. It comes as another culture shock.
What the fuck?
I love how this is shot like a war scene. Dodgeball is hell. It's during the game that Jamie finally spots her future mom.
You're out, bitch!
While she knows her mom as sweetheart Julie Bowen, pre-marriage Pam Miller is a mean mama jamma. She rocks her daughter's shit with dodgeball domination and doesn't stop slamming her even after the game is over.
Maybe you should fuck off and die. Jesus, Mom. Masita? Ay. Ay.
Turns out Pam didn't just go to school with Tiffany, Marissa, and Heather. She was the leader of the Mean Girl clique, which was called the Mollies after Molly Ringwald. Old habits die hard, I guess, since Pam was still dressing like Molly Ringwald in 2023. By then, it seemed more quaint than cool, though.
I am Molly Ringwald in the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's great, Mom. Who? Jamie overhears their plans for Tiffany's Sweet 16 party, which is where she'll be murdered later that night. She tries to shut it down by narking to Sheriff Dennis Lim, the father of the present-day sheriff, Kara Lim. When the cops ignore her time-traveling claims, she hunts down the time-traveling expert, Amelia's mom Lauren, who's a student at Vernon High. Lauren buys into Jamie's story pretty much immediately. Helps that she's already theorized about time travel, and oh yeah, that Jamie has a freaking smartphone. She gives the internet age interloper a rundown of our time travel rules.
Imagine that time is like a river. You got out of the river, ran upstream, and then jumped back in. Now everything keeps flowing, so whatever changes you make, they'll trickle downstream.
Unfortunately, Amelia's machine is busted, meaning Jamie's stuck in the past until Lauren can build a new one. In the meantime, the two of them head to Tiffany's Sweet 16, a party that's only meant for cool kids.
No nerd jewelry. Hey, it's a replica of the first microchip commemorating the dawn of personal...
Yo, shut up, dork!
Dorky Doug and Bouncer Randy are joined by Stoner Kara, and Jamie realizes they're the pubescent pillars of her present-day community. Doug's the future principal, Kara the future sheriff, and Randy the future wrestling coach, as articulate as he's ever been.
Woo! Is that like a real person?
Although Randy locks the loser club outside, Jamie and Lauren hop the fence with a boost from Doug. Inside, she finds more teen adults. A young Chris Dubasage is the yearbook photographer, and then there's this poolside hunk.
It's my dad.
Pretty horrifying for Jamie, but Blake tried to tell her that he used to look like Zac Efron.
But you know, back in the day, I used to be jacked just like him.
Blake has been kinda dating Tiffany, but they break up after he finds out she kissed another student named Eddie Royal. Jamie's familiar with his future work as frontman of a rock band called Killer Instinct.
We should pick a band where I didn't know the lead singer. I mean, Eddie Royal was such a jerk in high school.
When she lets slip that she's a fan, Tiffany assumes Eddie's more famous than he is and runs off to chase his clout. This causes our first wrinkle in time. According to the podcast, Tiffany's supposed to be murdered in the garage, but thanks to Jamie's intervention, she's now instead upstairs with Eddie. Tiffany introduces Eddie to the wonders of a waterbed, but wants to keep things light as a feather.
You pee out of that thing.
While Tiffany goes to the bathroom, Eddie ditches her, which leaves room for the Sweet 16 killer. Tiffany thinks it's just freaky foreplay until the knife comes out, and she's killed in a spurty stabbing that springs a leak in both the bed and her body. By the time Jamie finds her, the killer has escaped into the night. For this kill, blood capsules were rigged into the top flap of the waterbed, allowing both liquids to spurt out when stabbed. The effect was later enhanced digitally. They filmed it in one take with 5 different cameras, since it'd take too long to reset the effect. The cops arrive and Sheriff Lim demonstrates his policing talents.
Now let him go. He's a friend of my daughter's.
Thanks, Daddy.
Jamie walks Pam home and convinces her she can see the future using the crystal future Pam gave her in the first place.
I'm psychic. This is my psychic crystal.
I really love Olivia Holt as teenage Pam. She does a great job mapping out this character's emotional journey, from mean queen bee to the loving mom she'll eventually become. We check back in on the present, where Jamie's disappearance is under investigation. Amelia's already trying to build a new time machine to rescue her friend. She's joined by Chris Dubasage, who overheard her at the crime scene, and they realize that the pictures he took as a teenager verify that Jamie's in the past. Just like Lauren said, Jamie's actions in the past have started to affect the present. In this new timeline, Tiffany was killed in the bedroom instead of the garage, and Eddie Royal is now an emo rocker following his brush with death. He was just a waterbed away from it. Chris remembers knowing the original version of events, even though all his evidence shows the new version. Amelia gives an explanation that ties into the Mandela effect.
There's a theory that those memories aren't false, they're just lingering from a past life that was altered via time travel.
As a horror fan, director Nahnatchka Khan was excited to break into the genre with Totally Killer. She was drawn to the challenge of blending sci-fi, horror, and comedy into one film, taking inspiration from directors like Robert Zemeckis and Wes Craven. Kiernan Shipka was Khan's first choice for Jamie, having worked with her when she was just 12 years old doing a guest spot on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. Khan wanted to avoid a stylized depiction of the 80s, opting to keep things realistic to small-town America. She worked with costume designer Patricia J. Henderson to create believable looks based on pictures from old magazines and Henderson's own yearbooks, and pulling directly from Henderson's own wardrobe, like Heather's frickin' jaunty hat. They also took cues from John Hughes movies. Pam's jacket that Jamie wears was influenced by Sloane in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Jamie continues to mess up time stuff in the 80s. She lets slip that Pam and Blake are gonna wind up together, even though her dad once told her they didn't date until after college.
Thank God we didn't get together in high school because it would have never lasted.
But it's already too late to stop these dumb, horny idiots.
I'm gonna have sex with Blake.
She begins to have existential worries, but Lauren assures her she won't just blip out of existence if her parents break up too early.
You'd basically just have no life to go home to, because everything would be different. No one would have any idea who you are.
Oh, yeah, that's much better. In science class, Jamie's paired with Damon, who's got a Patrick Bateman sketchbook filled with murder doodles. He's also the creepy groundskeeper we saw in the present, and the brother of someone they call Fat Trish.
Who's Fat Trish? Also, you can't call her that.
Yeah, not anymore. She's dead.
Trish was a victim of the Molly's bullying and died in a drunk driving accident. So add Damon to the long list of suspects who may want to kill the Mollys for something. Jamie doesn't realize until it's too late that the Mollys are taking her to Marissa's cabin in the woods. It's the site of the next murder, according to the future. Marissa will be stabbed here while they celebrate her birthday. The rest of the crew pulls up with the drugs and alcohol, making this a proper slasher party. Jamie even goes a little Kennedy on them.
There are rules for tonight.
Predictably, the teens throw caution to the wind and commit to being the stereotypes they are. Jamie's trying to stay sober, but thanks to Stoner Kara, we get a classic gag. Those brownies she's been eating are actually weed brownies! And she's had like 5 of them! Whoa! This is actually one of the funniest fucking gags in the movie, though, since Jamie doesn't feel anything. Kara says her tolerance must be crazy, but nah, man, all you've got there is a bag of Regos. Like 80s Regos.
This is just dirt. Look at all these twigs.
It's just another example of how this movie finds funny and refreshing ways to do time travel jokes.
80s weed sucks. I could give you a gummy this big that has 100 times more weed than this.
Jamie lies about there being pizza, and that party foul gets her locked outside. The rest of the high idiots split up to look for the non-existent Za, or just to hook up, like Pam. She really wants that Blake bomb. I guess she's into guys who kinda look like a lost Franco brother. Their bedroom bumping turns to barricading when high-ass Pam suddenly remembers there's a murderer on the loose. Jamie climbs up to the second story where she spots Heather sleeping inside. She also sees the Sweet 16 killer, but it takes her a while to be let inside by Pam and Blake. By then, there's a murder attempt and chase scene going on, with Heather taking a nasty tumble over the railing. Damn. Oh wow, and then we get another scream crawl, huh? This movie doesn't try to hide its influences.
Could also be 2 killers, you know? Like in Scream.
Scream?
Oh, right. It's not out yet.
Heather's unable to get away as the killer catches up and starts their 16 stabs. Blake interrupts them and takes a stabbing himself. Only one though, since it's not his birthday. Jamie joins the fray, as does Pam, but since this is before she's trained herself, the killer beats her down with ease. Blake comes back with a second wind and a fire poker, which finally drives the killer away. Pam's unconscious, but still breathing, which can't be said for Heather, who's died out of order from her injuries. The Sweet 16 killer's mask was designed by the team at Altarian Effects headed by Tony Gardner, whose work we've seen in many a Chuck Chucky movie. The mask, which Tony graciously lent me to have on the set back there, is an amalgamation of 80s heartthrobs like Rob Lowe, Dolph Lundgren, and Kiefer Sutherland. The single earring is an overt reference to the Lost Boys. There's also some Max Headroom and Johnny Bravo thrown in there, which I spotted right away. In contrast to the blank face of Michael Myers, they chose to exaggerate the killer's handsome features, giving him a shark-like smile with oversized teeth. The kids recover at the police station, where Jamie presents some of the killer's blood. Too bad this is 1987.
Sure, sweetheart, we'll just fire up the old worldwide DMA database.
DNA was first forensically used in 1986, but that was in the UK. Its use in the US did start in 87, but it wasn't widespread right away, and the DNA database wasn't established until the 90s. That means this all sounds like Jimmy Woo-Woo stuff.
I'm solving crimes.
Sheriff Lim is played by Randall Park, who starred in Nahnatchka Khan's previous feature, Always Be My Maybe. With another murder on their hands, the teens start accusing each other. Worse yet, since Heather died instead of Marissa, Jamie realizes her future knowledge no longer applies. She catches up with Lauren at school as they watch a broadcast about the recent murders anchored by Norm Dubasage. Norm is Chris Dubasage's dad, and in 2023 is still doing his thing in full Heraldian style.
I think he might get a second Pulitzer for this.
I guess he's a great reporter and dentist for ambiguously aged kids. Lauren's been working on a prototype time machine, but it won't work without Jamie's phone, which is quickly running out of battery. So they should probably turn that thing off for now then, huh? They make plans to meet at Billy's Boardwalk so Jamie can try to stop the last murder before going back home. In the meantime, she continues investigating who the killer could be. Her prime suspect is creepy Damon, so she breaks into his van during a bathroom break. Damon catches her, but he turns out to be less BTK and more Big Bang Theory.
Whatever you want, just please leave the Thundercats.
The only violence Damon's dreaming about is in the video games he hopes to develop someday. Hall monitor Doug also joins them outside, mostly just to, remind you he exists. At the boardwalk, Lauren is trying to fix the time machine, but with the generator busted, they'll need to power it with a quantum drop, aka a gravitron. Wait, how will that fix the time machine?
We need a new power button. Yep, one that can generate a shit ton of force, enough to basically disrupt gravity.
Sure, whatever. Science! While Lauren arranges her ride home, Jamie plots out a plan of attack with the surviving teens. They're gonna use Marissa as bait, with her pretending to go into the haunted house all by herself. The Sweet 16 killer follows her and passes a young Chris Dubasage, causing future Chris Dubasage to remember the encounter. Luckily, Amelia has just put the finishing touches on her new time machine, so the two prepare to mount a temporal rescue. Marissa makes her way through the Dollhouse of Horrors, gamely playing her part. The Dollhouse of Horrors was played by the Keeper's Doll Factory, a haunted house in Vancouver's Playland, where they shot the boardwalk scenes. It was originally scripted as a haunted house called the Enchanted Forest, but production couldn't pass up the opportunity to use the pre-existing decorations and animatronics. The others wait to ambush the killer, but Jamie accidentally makes a noise which kicks off a chase through the haunted house. The killer is able to fend off the teens, but before they can kill Jamie, they're put down by a Grim Reaping Kara.
That thing is real? Yeah, my dad gave it to me. There's a killer on the loose.
Jamie unmasks the Sweet 16 killer, revealing that they're Doug.
Doug?
Yeah, Doug Summers, the dorky dude who would grow up to be the high school principal. A look-see at his locket reveals his motive. He had been Trish's boyfriend. Marissa reveals Trish's fatal drunk driving accident was actually caused by the Mollies. They got her drunk to get her to admit to a sexual rumor, then let her drive home, which is when she crashed her car and died. Jamie is horrified that her mom would do such a thing, but Pam says she wasn't even there. That means Doug had no reason to murder her in the future, or present, 2023. Before they can figure out the proper nomenclature, Marissa's throat is suddenly slit by a second Sweet 16 killer who appears out of nowhere. This is the killer from Jamie's original timeline, the one who killed Julie Bowen and chased Jamie into the old time machine. We see they knocked out Amelia and stole her new time machine to follow Jamie into the past. And just to be clear, Doug Summers was the original Sweet 16 killer in both timelines. It's just he never murdered Julie Bowen. That was a different killer. That was this one, who's now traveled to the past. Jamie and Lauren flee to the quantum drop, passing by Norm Dubasage's Halloween broadcast. The Sweet 16 killer is close behind and stabs Norm in the head on live television. Aw, now he'll never get another Pulitzer. Inside the ride, Lauren gives Jamie a safety spiel.
Once it's up to speed, you have to stay in here.
What happens if you fall out?
You'd get thrown against the wall with the same force as a rocket launch and probably explode.
Jamie has her take back her mom's jacket shortly before the killer joins them on the ride. Lauren escapes as the ride starts up, but somehow Pam manages to hop on board. Not sure how she managed to do that, but she and her future daughter have a heart-to-heart and battle the killer together. As the ride spins up to speed, they get pinned to the walls by G's. This slasher don't care about safety guidelines, so he stands up and walks towards them in an awesome use of this set piece. Pam takes a stab to the gut, but Jamie manages to reach the controls and eject her from the ride. As she goes, she pulls off the killer's mask, revealing him to be an adult Chris Dubasage. What a douche-basage. He says he murdered Jamie's mom to attract fresh attention to his murder podcast. His analytics have been low lately. I get it. That also means he just killed his own father a few minutes ago.
Now that Chris won't have to deal with a piece of shit dad who cares more about his legacy than his own fucking son!
Chris and Jamie battle it out in the center of the ride. He eventually gains the upper hand, but Jamie uses a convenient nail gun to put her back on top. Then she hits him with a one-liner.
Enjoy the ride.
And atomizes him against the side of the ride. Ha, that could have looked cooler. This Gravitron finale was important to Con, even though it was initially outside their budget. She went back and shortened other scenes to find the money, and says Blumhouse supported her endeavor.
We had to go find a Gravitron in Canada and shoot that practically. And they were down. They were down for all of it.
They rented a real ride from some carnies in Canada and had it for 3 days of shooting. Since they couldn't film with the ride turned on, they used giant fans and LED ribbons with a chase sequence to simulate spinning, and wire work to pull stunt performers and actors around. Safe at last, Jamie is free to travel back to the future. She emerges on the present-day boardwalk, looking just as rusty as when she left it. Back home, she reunites with her newly living mom, who's wearing the jacket she left her in the past. It's maybe a little weird that she doesn't, recognize her, but hey, who doesn't love a happy ending? They're joined by Lauren and Amelia, who are now close family friends. Lauren takes Jamie outside to catch her up with all the things that have changed, starting with this hot guy.
Who is that? Yeah, so remember how you were trying to keep your parents apart in high school? You didn't. They got together immediately. And that is your 34-year-old brother.
And that's not even the half of it.
And his name is Jamie.
We're both named Jamie?
Colette, honey, can you help your brother set the table?
The movie ends as Lauren gives Colette, a notebook listing other changes to her timeline. We see them during the credits. Idiot Randy became principal in Dead Doug's place. Damon started his own video game company. And this timeline's Chris Dubasage is doing some soul searching in India. And he'd better stay there, just in case. Did this deadly DeLorean joyride leave its cast totally killed? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Jesus!
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You are not getting out of gym class with no flimsy, I gotta get to the numbers excuse.
But I do have to get to... You know what? It's fine. I have a note from my doctor.
Where the hell is Dr. Molly? No good. We're gonna play a little dodgeball.
I can't play dodgeball. Oh, okay, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
Totally out.
7 people died in Totally Killer. There were 3 male victims and 4 female victims, giving us a retro red majority pie chart. We've only seen this count and breakdown once before on this show, in Ringu from late last year. With a runtime of 106 minutes, Totally Killer had a total kill on average every 15.14 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Marissa Song. The throat slit is sudden and bloody, and also hilarious. I didn't mention it during the kills, but Jamie had given Marissa a rape alarm to press if anything happened to her. She did, but it was too late. Dol Machete for lamest kill will go to Heather Hernandez, simply because by that point, we had already seen the Sweet 16 stabbings a couple of times. And that's it. Totally Killer was released in 2023 on Amazon Prime, and I would totally kill for a Blu-ray so I could actually, own the movie. Next week, we'll be talking about A Star, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count.
On the next Kill Count.
Minimal motion picture maker Ty West invites you to return to the world of X.
I like the sound of that.
Travel back to the year 1918 to witness a very different time in American history. It was when young girls just wanted to be famous.
One day the whole world's gonna know my name.
Young boys just wanted to get laid.
You could even be in pictures like this. I know, I'd watch you.
And people everywhere were afraid to go outdoors due to a global pandemic.
It's hard to know who anyone is nowadays with all these masks people are wearing.
Ha! That actually sounds like the reality of today.
I don't like reality.
Me neither, but I sure do like Pearl.
Why, thank you.
This movie is an absolute Technicolor fever dream that showcases the genuine X factor of its star Mia Goth.
I'm worried there may be something real wrong with me and Mitzi.
Well, I agree, little lady, but that's because I've seen the first motion picture.
Malevolence is festering in you. I see it.
This week, watch a prequel with a lot less sex than X. Well, at least when it comes to humans. Ain't that right, straw-filled stranger? And on Friday, bicycle on over for the kill count. Only on Dead Meat.
Never seen anything like that before now, have you?
Pearl can currently be watched on the pictured streaming platforms. Dead Meat always recommends you watch the movie for yourself before its kill count. It's the only way to have your own properly informed opinion. Kill counts are never meant to replace the experience of watching a film.
Thanks a lot for watching this kill count on Totally Killer. I feel like this movie went under a lot of people's radars last year, and it killed me to not have it nominated for anything at the Dead Meat Horror Awards. We just couldn't find exactly which category to fit it in. It almost made me want to start a funniest horror movie of the year award just so I could give it something. What do you think? Did the humor work for you? I know in theory a lot of the jokes are kind of obvious, but just the way they're delivered, I found really refreshing and funny. Again, huge thanks to Kira Gardner for hooking me up with her dad Tony, who then gave me that mask. I think it might have been screen used. There might be text on the screen right now saying whether or not it was screen used. Maybe it was just marketing. I don't know. I want to thank some patrons like Apollonia, Paul Dumansky, Zach Crawford, Halimano Meek, Redman1432, Sean Flano, and Corey McCann. Thanks everyone. Be good people.